Well, that took longer than I... Hey, I'm back with a project that I conceived way back when I first started the channel. This project takes a bunch of skills from my previous videos, as well as adding a few new challenges into the mix, including an opportunity for me to finally conquer my fear of my CNC. But we'll get to that. Let's go back to the beginning, where I'm sure it won't shock you that it all started with a deal. These are 8-inch KRK Rokits, Generation 2 to be more precise. The current gen is 5, so these are a few years old. And I got my pair for $31.51 NZD, which was around this in USD at the time of purchase. With one catch, of course. The tweeters are blown, but come on, that's what we're all about around here.
What, not everyone likes junk?
I do.
So let me explain what these speakers are about and where I want to go with them. The KRK Rokits fall into a category of speaker called studio monitors, which are specifically designed to present a more neutral representation of whatever sound is being put through them, instead of what your general consumer hi-fi systems do, which is try to make everything sound better.
I'm completely neutral.
This neutrality is useful for studio engineers or anyone who mixes audio because it means they can hear what the raw audio actually sounds like instead of what the speakers are doing, which means they can make more accurate adjustments. Generally, what we're looking for is clarity. There are a couple of issues with this concept when it comes to actually manufacturing the speakers though. Number one is that every manufacturer has a different idea of what the right way to achieve this goal is.
Mine is better.
Number two, in order to achieve a truly neutral sound, more expensive materials are required, more tuning is required, which means more time and more precision is required in the manufacturing process, all of which adds up to... So what we end up with is a compromise if manufacturers want to deliver a more affordable product for the masses while still maintaining the clarity that everyone's chasing. The KRK Rokits are considered a prosumer level studio monitor, so pretty decent, but they do have a character of their own, like most affordable studio monitors. In this case, it shows up as a slight low-end hump.
Say what?
Oh, sorry, let me translate for you. Bass. This has naturally made them perfect for DJs who typically want a more present bass in their monitoring, and why I think they'll work perfect for what I want to do, albeit with some modifications, of course. I want to turn these into my ultimate home hi-fi system, complete with brand new upgraded tweezers, a complete cabinet reface, and custom stands. I want these monitors to be an enjoyable audio experience, but also pieces of fine furniture that turn heads. So let's get into it, starting with the biggest hurdle and the reason this video took so long. This is one of the most complex pieces that I have ever made. So, as I said, I want to turn these speakers into fine-ish furniture, starting with the faceplates. I want to completely remake them out of wood. Now the problem is, the front face of the Rokits are not actually flat. It has a contour, and the faceplate carries this. You can see that it has curves that follow the lines of the speaker cabinet. But in theory, I have the perfect tool for this, albeit one that I've been avoiding because I'm scared of it.
I'm terrified!
The CNC. But in theory, this is the perfect use case for something like a CNC, which should be able to use 3D carving to follow the contours from a 3D file. So I need a 3D file. To get one, I headed out to my local makerspace, which has a 3D scanner. I painted one of the plates grey to make it show up better on the scanner. This is because a 3D scanner uses structured light to measure the reflections from a surface, and black absorbs light, so no good.
Why isn't it working?
Then I added a few marker dots, which introduce a little bit of randomness to a symmetrical object, giving it a unique feature in that area, which makes it easier for the scanner to keep track. And with that, we were ready for scanning. Then I head off to Fusion to try and replicate the curves, and I couldn't even get close. And this was the first point at which I stalled out on this project. I had this idea in my head of getting the CNC to do these perfect contours, and I couldn't decouple myself from it. For context, this was around June last year, having already sat on the speakers for a few months, and I'd just come off the back of two of my biggest sales/networking events of the year, and they'd gone really poorly. Yay, recession! Not to mention it was the middle of winter. It wasn't until August that I decided to have another go, and with a bit of space, I'd been able to let go of the idea of all the shaping happening on the CNC. Instead, I'd allow myself to rough out the shape and the speaker recesses on the CNC, and then finish it by hand. So here we go. I was ready. It was time. I prepared this lovely rustic-looking timber from an old set of shelves. I liked it because it had heaps of colored grain running through it, and it kind of matched the cherry veneer that I'd ordered for the cabinets. With a renewed vigor, I attacked my task with gusto. Even being able to brave the use of the CNC to this point was such a huge leap ahead, a massive arrow to my belt that I could use in future projects. I pulled the finished piece from the CNC to admire my work, and it didn't fit. It didn't fit. Yeah, I definitely filmed this, but I can't find the footage anywhere, and I have no proof because I think I literally just snapped the piece in frustration and put it in the bin. But basically, the whole thing was about a third too big, and the speaker recesses weren't in the right place. So there's your heads up that sometimes 3D scanning is not entirely reliable. You need to make sure that it's got a really good hold on its tracking, or it can warp things out of place, and transferring between software sometimes results in the scale of a model changing. My fault for not checking.
My bad, guys. That's my bad.
But at this point, I was determined to continue. So as I wasn't entirely sure what the issue was, I started the design again, but using a different method. I took the piece to a local picture framer with a lab with a really high-end digitization workflow. My friend Yasmin scanned the backside of the part on one of their large high-res scanners, and then back home, I pulled the scan into Photoshop and used some tricks they taught me to make sure the scan was completely square this time. Shout out to Yasmin's hands here. This was basically just creating rectangles with fixed lengths that matched the real piece, giving me straight edges to work from so I could skew the picture until it lined up. Then it was back to Fusion, where I used that image to trace the shape and create another model, this time with accurate outer dimensions. To measure the depth, I just used a set of calipers on the real thing. And one more round on the CNC later, it was almost perfect to the original plate. I just needed to shave down a little of the outer edge. So I took it to the router table and used a flush trim bit against the original faceplate. A quick little test fit to see it was all sitting nicely. Similarly, I needed to carve away just a little of the edges of the recesses on the back of the faceplate. Yeah, and I used a trim router with just a straight milling bit for this. Oh right, I need to explain the tweeters. So the originals were blown, which basically means they'd had sound put through them that they couldn't handle. But before I'd even purchased the listing, I'd already made sure that I could get replacements and that they were cheap. However, when I went to buy them, I discovered something even better: ribbon tweeters. I'm not going to go into detail about why these are cooler or better, but to summarize, these use ribbons instead of domes as the diaphragm for the speaker. That's the bit that vibrates and makes the noise. The theory is that the ribbon is capable of better clarity. I had no guarantee of this, but for $40 I was happy to take the risk and potentially replace them later. Also, they just look cooler. Anyway, time to drill the screw holes. With these holes now in place, I can screw everything down and trace the cabinet contour against the edge of my faceplate, giving me a reference line. And so my breakthrough was that using this line, I can actually just hand carve the contours on my bench sander. I'm just going section by section here, slowly getting down to the bottom of the black line in each area, then coming back and smoothing the transition between. Another test fit, and I was feeling really happy with the continuity. Then into my least favorite part of any build, sanding.
I don't like sand.
I sanded up to 400 grit, which really smoothed out the curves and got everything looking glassy.
Here everything's soft. and smooth.
Before applying a blend of brown and black finishing wax for a darker tone that matches the rest of our furniture more closely. You'll probably notice that at some point I didn't like the shape of the waveguide for the tweeter, so I went over it with a roundover bit on the trim router. It suits the tweeter a lot better this way, as you'll see later. Hey, before we move on, I just want to tell you about a few things you can do if you've been enjoying this weird blend of Scottish Kiwi nerd turning trash into treasure. I really want to make more of these videos and more regularly, but, you know... So, if you'd like to see more of these junk jams, then there are a few ways that you can help me out. The first thing, of course, is to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell. The second is to head over to the completely overhauled refitretro.com and have the
legally distinct
Orange Ranger lead you through the refit verse, whether that be grabbing one of our fondly familiar products from the shop, finding out more about me, or maybe just playing a round of Breakout. Plus, you get to enjoy some amazing artwork from my good friend, Hoss Anise. Lastly, if you're feeling generous, you can buy me a coffee at the link down below, or if you're ready for a longer term commitment, head over to my Patreon and sign up to help support the channel. I'll be posting sporadic behind the scenes updates, but if you have an idea for something you'd like to see as an incentive, please fire me a message over there. Everything is linked down below. Alright, back to it. It's time to turn these plain black cabinets into pieces worthy of our new faceplates. Starting at the front edge, I painted these with a Vallejo plastic friendly primer, and then about 30 minutes later went over that with Molotov Chrome. I'm trying to match a lot of the other wooden furniture that we have, where a lot of the fittings are a kind of gunmetal black grey, and this is where this transparent black paint from Molotov came in. It's just a mix of clear and black that creates a thin layer of colour, allowing the chrome to come through the mix, giving the surface a dark yet metallic look. It's really cool, and I'll definitely be using it again. Next, I masked off the painted area and gave the cabinet surfaces a quick sand to get more toothing for laying down veneer.
Sand.
I'm using this real cherry veneer as it's the closest tone I could get to pine. I've done this process before in my previous video where I turned a 1970s hi-fi speaker into a guitar cab. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out, but after this. Yeah, so I started the speakers on two different edges, but the process is the same. Roll on a good quality wood glue, lay on the veneer, roll all the air out with another roller, and then lay a flat piece of material with a bunch of weight on top of it until it dries. Yep, and then flip to the next side and repeat until it's all glued down. I trimmed away the excess with a brand new sharp knife blade. I remasked the edges of the two panels and filled the little gap there with wood filler, helping to smooth the transition between the front and back plates. To prepare for finish, I gave the whole surface a light sand, smoothing the transition between the wood filler and veneer and opening the surface. I found the best way to get a good finish using veneer is just to treat it like finishing any other piece of wood. Maybe that was already obvious to some people, but it's changed the way I approach it even if it's not a solid piece of wood. We're using the same blend of wax for the cabinets as we did for the faceplates here, and just look what it does to that grain.
Extra green.
Now we're on to the last main component of our build. I trawled TradeMe and Marketplace for weeks looking for the right bar stools. I had an exact shape and finish in mind, and it was exactly what I ended up getting. They came out of a cafe closure in Auckland, covered in filth and grime and ready for my meddling. I started by cutting the tops into squares using an angle grinder with a fiber disc. Someone is going to complain at me that this is the wrong tool for the job, but it's what I had available.
We all use what we got, kid.
I then smoothed out and tidied the edges. Using a heat gun, I removed the leftover adhesive from the seat toppers, drilled some mounting holes, and then enlisted my wife's help with getting them clean, as she loves cleaning. Yes, Yeah, look, I know how it sounds, but it's true. She collects cleaning products like I collect tools. Of her own accord, she put a monthly appointment in our calendar for her to vacuum my workshop. For fun. You're not going to believe me. Anyway, she used this product she loves called triclinium, and check out what it does to this grimy metal in the bath. While those were getting their spa treatment, I started making some isolation pads by sticking EVA foam either side of a piece of ply, and then cutting out shapes on the laser that fit between the speakers and the stands. These pads will help decouple the speakers from the stands to stop the vibrations from traveling through the metal, which would add unwanted noise. Some will try and claim that because I'm bolting the stands into the speakers, the pads will be negated, but trust me, they make a huge difference. I used the pads to drill corresponding holes, and then installed pronged T-nuts in the base of the speaker for mounting. I took the stands outside to paint, once again using the transparent black from Molotov over the freshly cleaned aluminium to get that cool faux gunmetal look. And we were almost done.
Bonus round!
It's time to add the finishing touches and put everything together. I had this fabric left over from the guitar cab build, which I'd also used to make some baffles in our TV cabinet. I 3D printed a plastic ring sized to fit and used it to wedge the fabric in place against the back of the speaker recess. Then I just used super glue to lock it in place and trimmed away the excess with a sharp knife. I installed the faceplates in position, and I also painted the screws to match. And then added a little 3D printed diffuser in the space I'd left open for the built-in LED. At the very last minute, I was showing a friend the concept, and she suggested I add a shelf to what would have been the footrest of the stools. I really liked this idea, so thanks, Sue. I used the laser to mark out the shape of the shelves, then cut them out on the bandsaw and assembled them. We'll see them in just a moment. But now, the transformation is complete, and I think I want to show you. After months of stops and starts and hurdles, I finally knocked off my biggest restoration project yet, and one I've been wanting to do since this channel started. I've had these in the lounge for a couple of months now, and I love people's reaction when they see them. So much of the hi-fi equipment today looks so utilitarian, but I really wanted to turn these into a piece of art, and I really feel like I succeeded.
Really?
Look, I hope you liked them too, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend, and I really hope you'll consider subscribing. If you'd like to support even further, I'll leave those links I mentioned earlier down below. And hey, please drop a comment if there's something in particular you liked or didn't like, or if this gave you an idea for a project of your own. As always, if you enjoyed the music in this video, I wrote most of it. You can check it out by searching Lasair, L-A-S-A-I-R, on all music platforms. I'm also working on a new EP for release at the end of the year. That's it, we're done. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully a little sooner this time. And this is where this transparent black paint from Molotov came in. And this is where this transparent black paint from Molotov came in.